The great day came. All the engines worked hard, bringing people to the town. Thomas sorted out their coaches in the yard. Edward steamed in. Beep! The Queen is here! Then Gordon whistled as he approached the station. Everyone knew that sound. The Queen's train glided into the station. Gordon was spotless and his brass shone brightly. Sir Topham Hatt stood to attention. "Welcome, ma'am." The Queen thanked him for a splendid run and asked to see all the engines. "Beep, beep," whistled Toby and Percy. "Shh," hissed Henry and James. But Toby and Percy didn't care. "3 cheers for the Queen!" "Beep, beep," whistled the engines.
When Thomas was by himself, every sound and every shadow was spooky. He was beginning to feel very scared.
"There's no such things as ghosts,"
he said nervously.
"Who's there?"
Thomas was so busy looking for ghosts, he didn't watch where he was going. The chains felt like ghost fingers.
"Something's got me!"
Thomas wheeshed and set off an old steam whistle.
"The ghost whistle!"
said Thomas, and he raced away as fast as his wheels could carry him.
"The ghost engine is after me!"
Thomas grew more and more excited. Too excited for his own good. "I'm glad I'm a splendid engine," he puffed. "The Fat Controller thinks I'm really useful. I had a race with Bertie once. I whooshed through the tunnel and stopped an inch from the buffers." Then Thomas made his mistake. "Just like this," he boasted. No one was hurt, but Thomas's front was badly bent.
Disculpa,
dijo Rusty.
¿te gustan los jacintos?
La locomotora lo miró sorprendida. ¿Sí? Me encantan los jacintos.
Entonces pronto verás muchos jacintos porque te sacaré de aquí.
Todos trabajaron con rapidez. Prender el fuego no fue fácil, pero pronto ardió con fuerza, y Stepney tuvo una gran cantidad de vapor. El maquinista de Rusty aceptó ser el fogonero de Stepney. Y partieron dejando atrás las hileras grises e inquietantes de las locomotoras diésel.
¿A dónde van?
Silbaron.
¡Hasta las vías!
Respondió Rusty. Y se alejaron rápidamente.
¡Lo logramos!,
susurró Rusty.
Ya cruzamos la frontera y estamos en nuestro ferrocarril otra vez. ¡Misión cumplida!
Y empezaron los problemas. Un enganche se abrió.
¡Sorpresa! ¡Atrápanos si puedes!
¡Oh, no!,
gritó Percy. El maquinista de Percy advirtió al guardavía, y el capataz del depósito le contó al inspector gordo lo que estaba sucediendo.
Van hacia la gran colina, eso hará que disminuyan la velocidad, pero es posible que regresen al pueblo. Entonces tenemos que detenerlos.
dijo el inspector gordo. Y comenzó la persecución. Al llegar a la colina se adelantaron a los furgones. El inspector gordo y Bertie se detuvieron en seco y los esperaron cerca de la cima. En la colina, los furgones disminuyeron la velocidad hasta que se detuvieron. Luego los hombres colocaron rápidamente bloques de madera detrás de las ruedas para que no pudieran ir marcha atrás. Los furgones ya no podrían moverse. Cuando los novios se iban de la iglesia hasta el lugar en donde se celebraría la fiesta, el inspector gordo pidió la palabra.
Damas y caballeros, permítanme presentarles el paquete de la suerte. Algo viejo, algo nuevo, algo prestado y algo azul. Todo reunido por Percy y su maquinista.
Las locomotoras silbaron y todos vitorearon.
Gracias, Thomas. Y gracias a ti, Percy.
Dijo la novia.
Es el mejor paquete de la suerte de la historia.
Y le dio un beso a Percy. Thomas se rió y Percy se sonrojó hasta que se puso totalmente colorado. George disfrutaba del viaje por la carretera, pero el inspector gordo no. El aceite salpicaba todo. Pero aún faltaba lo peor. ¡Socorro!, gritó George. ¡Algo se rompió! Giró fuera de control y el inspector gordo aterrizó en una zanja de barro cerca de donde Thomas cargaba agua.
¡Qué barbaridad!
Thomas nunca había visto al inspector gordo en semejante situación. ¿Lo ayudo, señor?, preguntó el maquinista de Thomas.
Sí, por favor, lléveme a la estación lo más rápido que pueda.
Lamentablemente, nuestro fogonero está enfermo,
Entonces yo seré el fogonero.
suspiró el inspector gordo. Thomas estaba feliz. El inspector gordo tuvo que trabajar mucho. El polvo del carbón y el hollín volaron por todas partes. Finalmente llegaron a la estación. El inspector gordo miró el reloj.
Justo a tiempo.
Dijo boqueando, y tomó enseguida un enorme ramo de flores. ¡Suerte!, gritó Thomas.
Toby proudly took the tree to the miller. The miller was delighted. Now we can build our windmill back up again. It will be good as new. Toby watched as the work began. It took a long time. But at last, the windmill was completed. Sir Topham Hatt was most impressed. The miller was grateful. Thank you, Toby. Your idea saved my windmill. Toby beamed happily. Now the windmill produces more flour than ever before. And Toby makes twice as many deliveries to the market. He never tires of watching the sales go round. And he is very proud that the miller now calls it Toby's Windmill. The refreshment lady could hardly believe her eyes.
Oh, it's beautiful. I told you it would be a piece of cake.
Sir Topham Hatt paused for a moment. With many cakes in it, I'm sure. Then he turned to Peter Sam. And you shall pull the refreshment stand special. I'll be proud to, sir, replied Peter Sam. He didn't know the linesman had forgotten to switch the points. Suddenly, Rheneas was on the wrong track. Oh no! This line is closed for repairs! Bust my buffers! Chuffed Rheneas.
Be careful, cried Rusty. The tracks are very bumpy.
Rheneas whooshed down the mountain like a roller coaster. The children cheered. Rheneas puffed up the rocky ridge with all his might. His coach clattered and bumped and bounced along behind. And the children oohed and awed. Rheneas chuffed and puffed as hard as he could. He steamed across the trestle bridge. He was going so fast the teacher nearly lost her hat. Rheneas splashed under a waterfall. The children laughed happily. And the teacher covered her eyes.
Rheneas did his best. If I fail, he thought to himself, the passengers will be cross and the railway will close. Everything blurred. He was really too tired to make another turn of his wheels, but he did. And another, and another, and another. Finally, tired but triumphant, Rheneas reached the station. I'm here at last, he wheezed. Thank you for getting us home, said the passengers. We'll tell all our friends what a fine railway this is. His driver was delighted. You're a gallant little engine, he said to Rheneas. When you're rested, we'll mend you, so you'll be ready for tomorrow.
He went to a workshop and they showed him all sorts of engines. At last he saw a smart little green engine with 4 wheels. That's the one, he thought. If I choose you, will you work hard? Oh, sir, yes, sir. That's a good engine. I'll call you Percy. Yes, sir, thank you, sir, said Percy. And the Fat Controller brought him back to the yard. Edward, he called, here's Percy. Will you show him everything? Percy soon learned what he had to do, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came by, hissing as usual. Chee! Went Percy. Henry jumped and ran back to the shed. How beautifully you wheezed him, laughed Edward. I can't wheeze like that. Oh, said Percy, that's nothing. You should hear them in the workshop. You have to wheeze loudly to make yourself heard.
As Toby floated helplessly on the floodwaters, they passed a sign that made them shudder. Beware the waterfall. If we go over that waterfall, we're doomed. Then they saw Harold, who swooped low and shouted urgently to them.
We're going to drop a rope to you. Attach it to yourself, quickly now.
And they did, to one of Toby's buffers. Just then Percy arrived. Harold flew over to him.
Catch the rope and pull Toby to safety,
he called. Toby was safe at last.
Wailed Percy. No, no, not by the smoke on my chimney, chim. I'll chuff and I'll puff and I'll break your door in.
Oh, dear, exclaimed Thomas. It's getting late. Oh, I'd no idea. Oh, I must find Annie and Clarabelle.
The next day, Bertie and the medal winner arrived with a surprise for Thomas. A small boy presented him with a gold medal on a red ribbon.
You were very helpful at Sports Day.
So we thought you should have a medal of your own, added the boy. My very own medal, said Thomas. Thank you.
3 cheers for Thomas, the #1 engine. But I still won the race, tooted Bertie.
Thomas just peeped happily.
Soon a blizzard was howling. Toby's driver was worried. I can do it, called Toby, as long as these rails hold. Toby had forgotten about the rickety old bridge. Whoa! Help! My wheels are wobbling, he cried. His driver fought for control as Toby struggled on. I've got to reach the other side of this bridge, gasped Toby. Those lambs need me! Farmer McCall was waiting. It was very cold. Suddenly, a ghostly glowing eye shone through the snowstorm. It was Toby's headlamp.
It's up to you now, Duck, cried the driver. Duck put every ounce of weight and steam against the cars. It's too late, Duck groaned and shut his eyes. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. The silly cars had knocked their conductor off his van and left him far behind after he had whistled a warning. But the cars didn't care. They were feeling very pleased with themselves. Beg pardon, sir, gasped Duck. Excuse my intrusion. No, I won't, said the barber. You frighten my customers. I'll teach you. And he lathered Duck's face all over. Poor Duck. Steady, Edward, called his driver. The inspector stood on Edward's front, holding a noose of rope in the crook of the shunter's pole. He was trying to slip it over James's buffer. The engine swayed and lurched. At last! Got him! He shouted. He pulled the noose tight. Gently braking, Edward's driver checked the engine's speed, and James's fireman scrambled across and took control.
He became so cranky that he was careless with his hook. His hook knocked the switch, and the switch started the jet engine. And the engine began to whine. The whine got louder and louder and louder. "Uh-oh," said Cranky. Before he could say anything else, the jet engine was rocketing Thomas up the track. "Oh," said Thomas. The driver tried to put on the brakes, but Thomas couldn't stop. "Oh, boy!"
ahoy! The station master called ahead. Clear the lines, it's a runaway train! Signals were changed and points were switched. Thomas had never been so excited. Thomas flew by James and rocketed past Henry and raced by Percy. They were amazed.
That night, Percy and Duck stayed a little longer at the quay. The air was warm and the sea calm. "There's a shooting star," said Duck. "Don't be daft," laughed Percy. "It's Harold. Look, he's hovering overhead." Something fluttered down towards Duck. His driver caught it. "It's a flag from the regatta. Harold's giving it to you as a present, Duck." "That was kind of Harold," whispered Duck. "He may have whirly arms instead of wheels, but he seems to understand just what an engine needs." Duck still wonders about the lands beyond the horizon, but I think he knows that sometimes the best travels are those we can only dream about. Don't you?
Just shunting, ready for his return journey, when... That sounds like a steam engine, he thought. The hiss came again. "Who's there?" asked Douglas. A whisper came. "Are you a Fat Controller's engine?" "I improved it. Thank goodness. I'm Oliver, and I'm with my brake van Toad. We've run out of coal and have no more steam." "But what are you doing?" "Escaping." "From what?" "Scrap." Douglas shivered. Then he remembered Edward's story about saving Trevor. "I'll be glad to help you," he said. "It'll have to look as if you're ready for scrap, and I'm taking you away." The drivers and firemen agreed to help too. Everyone worked fast. "No time to turn around," panted Douglas. "I'll run tender first. Come on." "Seems in order." "Right, away, guard." "That was a neat thing," puffed Douglas. "We've had worse," smiled Oliver. And they forged ahead. It was daylight when their journey ended. "We're home," cried Douglas. "Shh," said his driver. "There are the works. We'll find a place for Oliver."
Men hustled and shouted, loading the vans with crates of fish. The last door banged, the guard showed his green lamp, the flying kipper was ready to go. Come on, don't be silly, puffed Henry to the vans. The vans shuddered and groaned, trock, trick, all right. That is better, puffed Henry. Clouds of smoke and steam poured from his funnel into the cold air, and the fire's light shone brightly. Hurry, panted Henry. They were going well. The light grew better. Signal light shone green as they passed. Then a yellow signal appeared ahead. His driver prepared to stop, but the home signal was down. All clear, Henry. Away we go. They couldn't know the points from the main line to a siding were frozen, and the home signal should have been set at danger, but snow had forced it down.
Y también cerró el ferrocarril. La gente fue a comprar las locomotoras. Nos llevaremos a Stuart y Falcon. Nadie quería a Duke. Pensaban que era demasiado viejo. Arriba el ánimo, Grandpa, dijo Stuart. Te encontraremos un bonito ferrocarril y vendrás a controlar que trabajemos en orden. Intentaron mantenerse enteros y alegres, pero ninguno pensaba que su sueño se haría en realidad. El maquinista y el fogonero de Duke lo engrasaron y lo lubricaron por última vez. Lo cubrieron y le dijeron adiós. Tenían que irse a buscar trabajo. Duke se quedó solo.
Bueno,
Suspiró.
me iré a dormir. Me ayudará a pasar el tiempo.
Finalmente, la búsqueda terminó. Casi por accidente.
¡Lo encontramos! Encontramos nuestra bella durmiente.
Disculpen,
preguntó Duke.
¿ustedes son vándalos? El maquinista me dijo que los vándalos rompen y destruyen cosas.
Por supuesto que no. Se rieron los hombres del equipo de rescate. Entramos así porque no encontramos la puerta. Falcon y Stuart se pondrán muy felices cuando te vean.
Entonces no se olvidaron.
Henry, called Terence, we're beginning again. The hillside will look better than ever before. You'll see. Now, whenever Henry stops by the forest, he can see the new trees growing strong and tall. Sometimes, everywhere is very quiet, and at other times, Henry can hear leaves rustling or a bird's wing brushing the air. Often, he can hear the distant sound of children laughing, and always, he is happy here. The water lapped Percy's wheels. Percy was losing steam again, but he plunged bravely on. I promised, he panted. I promised. He made one more big effort, and at last, exhausted but triumphant, he brought the train home. Well done, Percy, cheered Thomas. You kept your promise, despite everything.